Okay, folks, here's a BattleTech question for you. What kind of weapons are the best for causing piloting skill rolls that will knock your enemy's mechs over? You might just think, well, the more damage I can do on the whole, the better, but it's actually more complicated than that. Let's take a look. Okay, so we all know what it takes to knock down a mech with weapons fire, right? 20 damage in a turn with weapons. But think about two mechs. Think about the Warhammer on the one hand. It's rocking two PPCs, two 10-point weapons. Think about the Flashman on the other hand. It's rocking three large lasers, three 8-point weapons, right? So you do it, you think about it in your brain at first, and you think, well, the Flashman's probably better for knocking over mechs because the amount of damage that it can do at medium range, let's say at like 10 hexes, it's 24. Whereas the Warhammer can do 20 at 10 hexes. So the Warhammer is doing less total damage maximum at 10 hexes. So it feels to us like the Warhammer is not going to be as good at knocking over mechs. But then if you think about it for another second, you'll realize that that's wrong, because the Warhammer will knock over a mech if it's firing two weapons and both of those weapons hit. Whereas the Flashman, in order to knock over an enemy mech, all three of the Flashman's main weapons have to hit. And the odds of hitting, if the target numbers, let's suppose, are the same, the odds of hitting with three weapons are worse than the odds of hitting with two weapons. So let's do a little math, right? A little relevant math. Say that you're hitting with an AC 20 and you've got 7s to hit. Well then, all you need is a single hit, right? In other words, all 20 points of the damage that you have is, as we say, correlated. So if you got a 7 to hit with an AC 20 and that's the only weapon you're firing, then you have a 58% chance of a hit. Any hit's going to be a PSR, so you have a 58% chance of causing a piloting skill roll. Now you break that 20 points of damage into two 10-point hits, and both the weapons need to hit at the same time to cause a PSR. The chance of that is 58% squared, or a 34% chance of a PSR. So that's how likely it is for that Warhammer to cause a piloting skill roll if it's firing at 7s to hit at like 10 hexes or something like that. And if you need to hit with three independent weapons with 7s to hit, it's going to be 58% cubed, right? 58% to the third power will be your chance of causing a PSR. So even though there's more total damage coming in, those three large lasers have only a 28 or a 20% chance of causing a PSR. So quite a bit less than the two PPCs. This becomes a real issue when you've got something like a medium laser boat mech going in, and on paper it looks like it's going to do a whole lot of damage. And on average, it will do a whole lot of damage. But let's say you've got something like a Jenner 7F, right? 4 medium lasers, 20 total damage. Well, it's tempting to think, yeah, when I go in with this mech, I've got 20 damage I can do. I can count on, at least there's a solid possibility that I might cause a piloting skill roll. But no, actually, the chances aren't that great, because those 4 medium lasers are 4 independent chances to hit. They're also 4 independent chances to miss, and you only need one of them to miss in order to not cause that PSR. So that Jenner has only an 11% chance of causing a PSR, even when it has 7s to hit, which is a pretty decent 2-hit number. And if the numbers are worse, then things get worse real fast. If you even have just an 8 to hit, like a little bit worse, that Warhammer even is only going to be causing a PSR 18% of the time, and the Jenner is going to be causing a PSR 3% of the time. Almost never. How big is this effect on medium laser boats? It's pretty big. I used a dice probability generator to estimate the odds for different numbers of medium lasers. These aren't exact numbers, but they're pretty close. And it turns out that you need 8 medium lasers to have a 42% chance of causing a PSR. So a mech with 8 medium lasers has the same chance as a mech that's toting one AC-20 by itself. So actually, even the famous Hunchback 4P, the deadly medium laser boat version of the Hunchback, has less of a chance of causing a PSR than a basic Hunchback, which has an AC-20 plus 2 medium lasers. Now, medium laser boats, don't get me wrong, a lot of the time these are some of the best units in BattleTech. But they do have weaknesses. Of course, a famous weakness of theirs is that they don't punch big holes, right? They don't have armor-piercing weapons. But another weakness, which might be even more severe in realistic cases, is that it's harder for them to cause piloting skill rolls. As much as I love the Grasshopper, and I do, you will notice when you play with that mech that in a one-on-one fight against another mech, it's pretty rare to cause a piloting skill roll with a Grasshopper. It doesn't happen very much, and that's because it hits with mostly 5-point clusters. So none of this means that medium laser boat mechs are bad. They're actually really good. You just have to have realistic expectations for them. Don't go in expecting that they're going to have as easy of a time causing piloting skill rolls as mechs that mount heavier weapons, because they will have a harder time. You need more medium laser damage to cause a PSR than you need AC-20 damage, for example, or PPC damage even.